amazing. So Mishaela, don't tell John anything that I'm about to tell you, or do. Maybe it'll no, I'm kidding. Everything's great. If we've never met, don't worry, because I've met these people. And so this is really exciting. This feels just like we're all just hanging out on a Saturday, a little nerdy, but we're okay. We own it. And so I know, we've got a couple people that are going to come in because they caught the second half of the previous one, but my Zoom settings, this is how I do it for students as well. So I wanted to kind of model that, not because I think it's worth modeling, but nothing crazy has happened to me. And we just finished our 9th week of online and then hybrid teaching. So my name is Meredith White, and I teach in Gwinnett County, which is Metro Atlanta. And that means that we were 2 weeks virtual, and then we have been hybrid, like I said, ever since. At my school, about 75% of our students, 75 to 80% of our students are virtual. And then the other 20 to 25% are in front of us every day. So I got a couple kids in the room with me. It is beyond awkward, whatever. And so what I'm going to profile is a lot of the things, pretty much all of the things that have helped me keep my sanity. Loose use of the word sanity there. Somewhat of my sanity, or at least help with that feeling of what the hell are we doing? Which is a feeling that I feel every day. And it's like every class period, every day, you're like, am I still okay? Like, nothing's on fire. Nobody's crying. That's pretty much my rubric these days. And I am including myself in the crying and the setting things on fire. So I say that to say, this is hard, you're doing enough, and I hope some of these tips help you organize some of the chaos, because this is a very chaotic situation. Yay, Heidi's in the house. What's up, Heidi? Bonjour. Oh, I love hanging out with you guys too. Okay, so let's go. So you can see I see my chat window. So as the questions come up, I'll do my best to answer them, and I hope that that doesn't come across as in a distracting way, because this is going to go really fast. So therefore, you have access to all of these slides, because I want you to have all the resources. Because to me, I'm like, yeah. Tell me why you're doing those things. Also, give me that, because I want it. So take everything at this. I don't know which way I'm going, so I don't know which way you see it, but somewhere like this. Also, how I point to word walls, like in chat, I'm like, I can't, my students don't know what I'm pointing at. So anyway, it's been an adventure. At the wherever it is in the bit.ly link is all of these slides, so it should take you directly to the slideshow, and then I can see a lot of you are on, so beautiful. It's working, nothing's on fire. Again, the rubric. So with these, I keep clicking on that this mouse, I'm telling you, boop, 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 it needs to be charged. Yay for a wireless mouse, but also remember to charge it. Not my strong suit. So when we look at some of these hacks, and what I think of as hacks, because they just a lot of them presented themselves as I needed them, which means something went wrong or inefficient, and then I had to figure out something to fix it. But they all come back to the 6 core practices. The 6 core practices are embedded in all the things we do. So how are we staying comprehensible to students, guiding them through with authentic resources, using grammar and context, planning with backward design, giving feedback, all of the things that we know make for a meaningful, worthwhile, instead of memorized and contrived language experience. And they also hit the spectrum of language learners. So I would have been word nerd, front row, give me the grammar, I want the rules, and then I want more words. I was I'm here for everything, but also the comprehensible parts, obviously. Also all of these things as a language learner. So we have those students in our classrooms who we provide resources for, we teach them in different ways. That's just what we do. We differentiate learning in as many ways as we can. And so all of these feedback to, am I able to, I'm gonna go forward and then go back. Am I able to organize, use technology, plan my lessons, and ultimately, get some daily logistics that feel good. So I'm not in a crazy headspace of everything's chaotic. It already is. You're literally still teaching in a global health crisis that people may or may not think exists, but that's a separate session. And so we've got all these pressures. We're teachers. There's a lot of martyr culture. There's a lot of grind and hustle culture. Work, 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 work until you can't work anymore. And then you just can't work anymore. And then you leave. There's a lot of things that like we take on that we shouldn't be. And so we're seeing that now. So if I can get things that allow me to keep my peace and my calm and feel like I know what I'm doing half of the time, ultimately I can focus on proficiency-based world language teaching. Ultimately, I can focus on getting my kids quality input, connecting with them. The rest will work itself out and I'll figure out something to do. So 3 things that we addressed as a department, because I have an amazing department chair, were what can we immediately scale back or eliminate? Like, do we have to cover things, or what can we go, nope, we'll catch that in the next level, not the hill I'm gonna die on. Like, don't care. Sarah and a star, whatever. Whoop, you know, passe compose. We'll get it next semester when we know what we're doing. Like, or they'll just, you know, obviously integrate it in comprehensively. We'll explain it later. It doesn't matter. What can you prioritize, I suppose? And then why? Those are tough department conversations. Also, how soon can you post dates, what you'll be assessing, what students can use for that? If I think of a high quality university syllabus, they're like, here you go. This is when the paper's due. This is when, you know, the final is. That calendar, that schedule is set, and it empowers you as a student to do with it what you will. So that's also our documentation piece. You knew it was going to be there. I sent you this. Why didn't you do the quiz? You know, what do you need from me? And we can spend our time making those resources, curating those experiences, instead of figuring out what the heck we're going to grade or what we're going to do. We already decided what we're going to do. Now my energy is spent how we're going to do it. And I know for way too long, especially I started out teaching 2 days after I graduated undergrad. Don't ever do that if you get the chance. It was not good. And I was always figuring out the what piece, and I had no why, because the what was just like blurring everything. And then I had no how, because I didn't know how to do what I didn't know I was going to do. Disaster. And then lastly, we in our department have, in order to stay consistent, not in lockstep, but consistent, a 3-2-1 structure, meaning in a single unit, we have 3 little, 2 medium, 1 big summative assessments, meaning grades. So like 3 classwork, 2 quiz, 1 test, if you want to call it that. Or it could be 3 classwork, 2 quiz, 1 IPA, or 1 project, something that's going to take on a little bit more time. And so for each of those units, we have 6 grades. We do 6, hold on, how many do we do? 3 units in a quarter. So it's about 3 weeks a unit. It's a lot of 3s. So 3 weeks a unit, 3 units in a 9 weeks, therefore, and 6 grades in each of those units, meaning on their report card for the first quarter, they have 18 grades. And students know exactly what they're going to be, because that's part of like the syllabus, the course description across our entire department. So feel free to take that. That helps us then talk about what it is we're doing, in addition to the why. The why is kind of set, and the how. None of those take precedent over any of the other ones. It's like, okay, I'll make this, you make this. Heidi, you're going to make the listening? Cool. You're going to make that? Great. Awesome. And we can divide the work instead of argue over the work, because I'm in a department of 14 women. It's a lot of fun. And they're amazing. Like, I've never been in a more collaborative, open, really dependable, collegial department. But a lot of that has to do with those arguments go out the door pretty much when you're like, we need to have 3 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these. Let's figure out what's going to be on them and let's collaborate. It's not going, Heidi, you have 76 grades. Meredith only has 2. Kids can't have a French 1 and a French 1 experience that's so different, because now we're undermining our program. We're undermining each other's professionalism, because that's the person that then comes in. If I inherit, Heidi inherits my students, and Heidi, can I make you the bad guy here? I'm gonna wait. Yeah, okay, she nodded. Who would say no? No, I'll make me the bad. I can't think of that in this moment. But if I get Heidi students and I go, oh, you don't know, I can't think of a French thing. Etre, is that a thing? I'm gonna go, good. Is it a thing that people argue over? Okay, beautiful. Okay. Passé composé, yes? Those are things. Okay, these are the, yeah. That's how I've heard them, is I'm like, ooh, they seem angry. And these are the words I hear. Oh, who did you have last year? Oh, you had, you know, Madame so-and-so, you had Mademoiselle Trude, you had, and you don't know Etra. And we walk away. And those conversations happen. And then it's like, what's that kid supposed to do? They loved her class. They did amazing things. And in 1 second, I've totally undermined that whole thing and been like, plop, and then just set. So a lot of those things come over. What are you grading? What are you prioritizing? That's set for me in my department. I don't get to choose. I have freedom over half my grade book because all of our, those 2 and the 1, the 2 quizzes and the 1 test are common. And then the 3 classworks, teacher's choice. So please, if that helps your streamlining and alignment, it's really helped ours. And it's changed the conversation. So I've given you some hacks here. These are some of my favorite tools. You don't have to have, there are going to be a couple of Google tools, but you don't have to have Google to have, you just have to have like Google, like the Google Suite. You don't have to have Google Classroom because I don't use Google Classroom. In Chrome, you can take your bookmarks and actually drag them into folders. So if you're in a Chrome browser, you can right click on the bookmark bar. And then when you say add folder, so these are the step-by-step directions, add folder and name it, you can then just right click on a folder and open all of them. So I know when I'm coming in and I'm sitting down and I'm like, we start at 7:10, which is like, oh my God. And then people are surprised when kids don't show up on Zoom. I'm barely on Zoom at 7. I'm like, good morning. Buenos dias. Like, there's gonna be no target language at 7:10. Okay, like, we gotta fake it. So I like being able to come in, I've got my coffee, I'm like mostly zombie mode, set my purse down, hang the keys, shake it off, whatever. I can come in and just right click, hopefully you can still see my whole window, right click here on this and open all 7. So instead of sitting and going, the hell tabs do I need? I need to take attendance. I need to get the slides ready. I need to open Zoom. I don't have to think about any of that. I can just, because I've put them all in a folder with these directions, I can just right click, open all 7. Then I log in and I'm like, okay, phew, alrighty. And I can start my day. And you'll see that my daily school, these are my daily school tabs. My district does not like to choose. I love where I work. Love where I work. Michelle, did you get that to John? Love where I work. But my district does not like to choose. We're like a shady guy, like with like a trench coat and every tech tool you could possibly imagine. Like, what y'all want? Y'all want Microsoft? You want Google? Psst, we got Zoom. We got Teams. We literally, like, we have access to everything. We have contracts with IBM, Microsoft, Google, for no reason. So name it and we have it. It's great, but it's also kind of inconsistent and confusing sometimes for students. So these are my daily school tabs. I log in to all the things. I get Zoom, I get my slides going. I open up my lesson plan to remind myself what we're doing. And I also get email because there are gonna be 87 student emails at any time waiting for me. So that's one little handy thing. Another Chrome thing that's cool are the Chrome extensions. These Chrome extensions save me a lot of like mental bandwidth, and like Heidi's like the Google master. So Heidi, if you want to like, if there are some others you love, please rock those into the chat because these are just 8 of my favorites. Tab glue and tab scissors work together. In this experience, especially, we're doing like 2 different windows open. So it's like grade book to ed puzzle. And then what'd she get? Okay, let me see. Meg had it 87. And then wait, was that Meg or Megan? Okay, hold on. Did it? And I'm like, boop, 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 going back and forth. Tab scissors literally cuts your tab in half and automatically spaces them out. And then tab glue just glues them back together. So you can go double screen instead of like minimizing, pulling the tab, and then you measuring it out. It just automatically fits to your screen. Tab glue then is literally just like a little glue bottle at the top. Where is it? Can you see it? Yeah, little tiny scissors, tiny glue. If I click the scissors now to show you, which I wish I could do, it'll actually change which screen is screen sharing, and then it'll like slide one over. Learn that the hard way, and then you can't find it again, at least in a way that doesn't waste your time. So you'll just have to get them. But the scissors and the glue are amazing. That's just what they're called. Loom and Screencastify are awesome. I don't use Screencastify as much for students. I use Screencastify to curate like a lot of content, like to make videos for things, and I use Loom more probably to communicate with students. So if you're I don't know, getting like blank assignment submissions, just throwing that out there as a thing that, my God, these kids are just click and submit. That's all they're doing. They're like, yeah, I did it. You didn't though. So Loom is really awesome to like screencast yourself and show kids or colleagues what it is you see. Because if they're clicking things and just hitting submit or sending you like blank documents or saying, I can't see my grades, you still have a 0, there's still a 0 in for that, but I did that. You can use Loom and just literally screencast yourself and show them, this is what I see. So let me know if it's wrong. And a lot of times they're like, oh, okay. I think a lot of it's genuine. They just don't know. I think some of it's more slimy than that. But I think some of it's genuinely like, they think a computer is just like, you click submit in Google Classroom and it's 100. Like, I don't think they actually like know all the time how to do the thing. We know they don't know how to do the things, but I think they're confused. Like, no, I think I did that. You didn't. And Loom allows you to go, hi. It's like your face floating and then full screen, like, hi. So you said you did this, but you can see here this Google Doc is blank. Or it can be instructional. It can be feedback after the fact. Hey, love your writing, couple of quick things, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and then you can send it to the student. So it's really cool. Yay. Megan, Heidi, you're working out like accent stuff. My Gwinnett person who, unfortunately, I did not click the allow you to rename yourself because that's what I do for students because you're inevitably going to get something inappropriate. So my E2018, I am using slides for this presentation, if that's what you mean. And then lastly, so Google Drive, of course, and Pinterest are awesome sites, and their Chrome extensions allow you to save resources to specific Google Drive folders or Pinterest pages. So I pulled up Le Monde earlier because I felt like that was a thing I'd heard about. I was like, that seems like it's a newspaper I've heard in these passing French conversations. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if I have the Pinterest and the Google Drive Chrome extensions, like I do, you can see them at the top of my window. And I have no idea what this says, but it looks like somebody died, a national homage, assassiné. Okay, that doesn't seem happy, and these people look sad. So I don't know what this says. However, if I want to use this or if I want to save this, the Pinterest Chrome extension allows me to save this picture to a certain board. So if it's telling like, which most news stories do is talk in the past, if I want to save this for great, whatever, like authentic resource for like pop-up grammar, if I want to pull out certain cultural points, whatever I want to do with it, I can just save it to, oh my God, Stacy, what are you, I have not seen the news because I ignore the news. Heidi, are you serious? Oh my God, that's like, oh my God, what are the French teachers in the last session? They didn't say anything. Rude. Hopefully they were all Spanish and didn't know. Oh my, see, this is, teaching is not worth it, people, all the time. Oh my God. Well, we send my kids candy on Monday or good grief. That's terrifying. Let's pick a different article. That's too depressing. This one. So if you hover over the image, which of course this one don't do, I can save it to a pin board. I'm not saving that one. Ew, that's awful. My God, where? Does it say where? Oh my God, oh, terrible. I mean, obviously France, but like, no, gross. Well, that took a turn. No, that's terrible. But you can save all the pictures and you can save the article as well. The only thing that saves you is having to paste the link into the Pinterest board. Not a hard step. It's just like 2 more clicks than I really want. Print friendly, same thing. You can look that one up. It takes a website and takes it into a PDF. And you can eliminate all the text, just keep the images. You can eliminate all the images, just keep the text, have kids match them up, like which headline goes with which whatever. Don't use that headline. You can do anything, you can manipulate any website in any way you want. If you just want to remove the ads, go for it. I like it for my level 1 and 2s to be able, here, I'll show you. I like for my, obviously not French, but I like for my level 1 and 2s to take a lot of the text away. So this is the print friendly extension up here with a little printer. And so this is like a lot of, this is a lot of text, and a lot of them get really intimidated. You hand them more than a couple paragraphs and they're like clutching their pearls. Okay, like, come on now. So if you want to take out parts that you don't think they'll understand, you literally just click on it and it goes away. I probably shouldn't have picked that article. This is a little upsetting. There. We'll take away at least the photos. So I can take away all of this, and just pare it down to what I want them to see, which is really cool. So, oh, my coffee pot's turning off. There we go. It's over. So that's print friendly. And then with numbered tabs, you can just go back and forth a little bit faster through your tabs. So if you're using Chrome right now, Control and the number will send you to a different tab. So like if you want to go from the second numbered tab to the fourth tab, like second tab to the fourth tab, you just do Control-2, Control-4. You don't need any add-on for that. If you're on a Mac, it's Command. So like Command or Control-2 to 6 to 8, all the way up to 9. What numbered tabs does is you can see my tabs are now numbered, so I don't have to count. So if I'm going back and forth between the gradebook or just trying to work a little bit faster, I'm like Command-3, Command-8, Command-9, and I can go back and forth between different things, which is really handy, especially if you're like copying, pasting, like adding text, feedback, all those kind of things. So Chrome tabs are pretty cool. And those are really simple. Once you get in the habit, I found that they save me time and I feel more efficient because I think I am more efficient that way. The late turn-in form is what we made as a department. We had a paper version of this because it's like, you know that scene in like Lion King where they're like, this is your kingdom. Like everything the sun touches belongs to you. That's how I feel about like late work. Like, or just, hey, did you see, I did it late. Can you look? I mean, it's like emails. Wherever the light touches, there are emails. It's insane. And so we streamlined our paper form and made it digital. So it's a Google form that kids fill out when they have late work to turn in. And so we take it, we're not monsters, but I'm not gonna go looking for it. Because if I'm gonna look for, Stacy and Sarah turn in their ed puzzles 2 days late, but then Heidi, Michaela, typical, turn in their quiz late, whatever. I'm gonna take all of those, but that's like 4 different people, 2 different assignments. They probably did them. We're gonna lose our minds. And so I can't track down all that like sort of late. Maybe late isn't the word because I feel like late has a bad connotation, but I'm gonna take all that. But like I said, I'm not going to go looking for it. It had a deadline because I was already going to put it in. So once I've put it in my like paper grade book and then online, you got to let me know. And so that form is what they see. It'll force you to make a copy so that you can just edit yours. And it says NTI in Gwinnett County in my district. NTI is not turned in. So it's like a 0. That's why it says that. But it's also for redos, retakes, and like any kind of, just late or a 0, or I got a 0, but it's because I got 0% right. So then it's like a redo or a retake. So that's pretty cool. I also made a touch-free hall pass that goes through Google Form as well. Our hall passes are color-coded within our school. So you can tell like if Heidi's walking around with a red pass, but she's in the blue hallway, what are you doing here? Pre-COVID, great system. Now with COVID, ew, because they take those big plastic passes like to the bathroom. Oh my God, you just hope that they wash their hands and they don't. So I made a QR code that goes to a Google form and they just scan that, choose their student number, say where they're going, submit. Now I have a time-stamped spreadsheet that says like Heidi went to the bathroom at 10:05. She's still gone. Or she came back 4 minutes later, or like 1 minute later. I never get those kids. Like, you didn't go to the bathroom. You also didn't go to the vending machine because there are no like hidden chips, like in their hoodie. I'm like, what did you do for 1 minute? That's weird. Our water fountains are turned off. So I know what you didn't do. It was bizarre, but whatever. So 20 minutes, 1 minute, doesn't matter. It's all time-stamped. And then the Google Sheet link is just to a template where it's like my template of how I've been keeping all of their, not their logins, but like the join codes for like Edpuzzle, Flipgrid, Senor Wooly. I mean, we have all these websites that we use, Conjuguemos, whatever. And if I have to log in every time, because, Aram is like, oh, I can't, what's my login? I don't know. Let me go find it. And so I keep all of them in a spreadsheet so that I just have the join codes. I can either send them to the spreadsheet or just tell them myself and just have it open. And that's in one of those little folders on the Chrome, and like at the top of my Chrome bookmark bar as well. So that's handy. So if you want to take that, I'm going to come back here. So a couple other logistic things. If you have Outlook, or there are some Gmail extensions that do this as well. Outlook allows you to send later. So that's been really great for like a weekly update. I think we as teachers feel like more info is more info, and we have the pressure to document and to stay in touch. But I think for a lot of kids and parents, they feel like us. She's the emails, so many emails. So if I can just say, check the Friday update, and I know that I've drafted the email all week and I've programmed it to send at 8 a.m. on Friday, that makes me feel a little bit less chaotic, because I'm not like, oh, did I email? Did I do the things? For Gmail, the add-on that will do that is Boomerang, I believe. But our district, again, we're like opening up our trench coat and, selling all the tech. We use Microsoft for email, but we also have Gmail accounts. I just don't use the send later with Gmail. In Gmail, you can also do, or in pretty much all email posts, you can also do an auto reply. So like over fall break or over Christmas break, obviously those are great times for an auto reply, but because our district has all of them, I use Outlook for adults and then Gmail for students. So only students email me at the Gmail account, and I keep the auto reply on all the time with the frequently asked questions. So if they're constantly asking about, where do I find, what do I do? And I can kind of narrow them down to the same, several things that I keep hearing. I can put them in my vacation away message, and those are hyperlinked, those purple right there. So I can just let me get my little pointer. You can see here, these are links. So there's that grade, that late grade form, this one, my grade, help. It's like, oh, do you have a grade question? Fill out the form. Because it's faster for me to go to the spreadsheet than it is to respond to 74,000 emails about, hey, did you get my quiz? Who are you? I don't even know, there's no name, the email address is not the name. So a lot of those questions have been answered, and I have found my email reduced drastically with the auto respond feature. But again, I have two. Outlook is for adults, and then Gmail is for students. So if you don't want adults and colleagues getting every single auto response, I wouldn't worry about it. But you could draft up a template email that's boop, auto reply to students, and just do it as your automatic response, but totally up to you. These are some of my favorite tech tools when I look at the different modes. So I feel like we get a lot of technology tools, names thrown around, and we go, oh, I've heard about GoFormative, I've heard about Edpuzzle, Flipgrid, but we never talk about, or it's hard to talk about what exactly, what mode they're most appropriate for, and how often we're using them. So these are my 6 favorites. These are my 6 most used, and they're in order according to mode. So if I think of every day as almost like a mini IPA, in, together, and then out, we're gonna hear or read something, we're gonna negotiate and kind of grapple with something, engage, and then we're gonna produce or react or respond, presentationally. Even a grocery list is presentational writing, but they can't make that grocery list if they didn't read the infographic about healthy snacks, talk about how they kind of snack and do some comprehension things. Now they can make that grocery list of, here's how I need to maintain my diet or keep eating healthy, whatever it is, or change my diet. They can't do that third task unless they do those first 2. So these are some of my favorite things for input, negotiation of meaning, and production. So if those have felt kind of sloppy or messy, or you feel like everyone's doing tech better than you, no, they're not. And I just stick with these 6, and this is not the year for me to try anything new. So if that helps you, I love technology, but oh boy, I am sticking with what I know, and I'm just making it better. I'm going to enhance the programs that I'm already familiar with. I also gave you all of my slides templates. These are just some daily templates that I use every day. So we've got these websites and these resources, but also how are we delivering content to students? My templates have little bars at the bottom that say what the teacher is doing and then what students are doing, because to me, organization and presentation can also tie heavily into equity. When my students calls glitch, or they come in late because they've got one computer for 6 siblings, or the internet's out, or they're sharing, who am I to be well, Mishaela, you should know what we're doing? When a kid had the confidence and the self-awareness to message in the chat and go, hey, what are we doing? We can't always read that as, hey, what are we doing? Those are different. It's the same question, but they're asking. They didn't just sit there and go, I don't know what I'm doing, and walk away. Some do, obviously, but if they're asking, maybe I need to make it more obvious what we're doing. So when you click on those templates, you'll see at the bottom, I embed just a text box that says like what they're doing, what I'm doing. And I've also got like virtual classroom slides, Bitmoji classroom. You can put, slides is really great because you can embed videos and timers. So like when you came in, that little tiny music video is there. I've got directions and detailed explanations in the speaker notes for all of those things, because slides is a really great forum for just staying in one tab with a lot of features. And I say one tab, meaning like one program for students to concentrate on. Another equity issue with the devices, with internet, with data, with the speed of internet, with the quality of the device, is if we've got students going, you know, to a Nearpod and then to Flipgrid and then into Quizlet and back to the Zoom, those might be fine for a kid who's got a computer that can go really quickly. But for my students who are just on their phone in all of their classes all day, they're just going to check out. Like, no, I'm not on the, you know, I can't play the GIM kit because I can't leave the browser, because then I'm out of, you know, I got the Zoom app open, but now my camera's not on because I'm in Chrome playing the GIM kit. Based on the Nearpod, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot for kids, and it's a lot for us. And so a lot of those templates allow me to just stay in slides and maximize Zoom and Google Slides, and then kids can work on those other things independently, which I find really handy. So in terms of slides, this will give you, this should link to this particular presentation that this is a GIF of. And so those same frequently asked questions that I referenced in the email in the vacation responder, I also made a help desk, an updated version. That vacation responder image was from March 30th, 2 weeks into the madness. This is from this fall, where I made this kind of like, not really like, it looks like a choice board, and it kind of is, but it's basically the frequently asked questions with a video walkthrough. So a lot of students were asking, how do I email? Like, they literally don't know how to email. I'm like, but you're emailing me. Asking about email. But that sometimes explains, whatever floats your boat. But that sometimes explains why their emails just say, hey, what'd I miss? You're like, I don't even know who you are. You know, it's like, I don't teach a, you know, Batman 47. Oh, and then you find out later, it's Glenda, but she's using her brother's email because she doesn't know her. And you're like, oh my God. Like, then you're like, Glenda who? Because I have a Sarah Glenda. Oh yeah, I go by my middle name. I mean, my goodness. Like, so all of these things that we worked out in 2 seconds in person are like 8 emails just to figure that out. So I've had a lot of students asking about missing work, email. I can't tell if the missing work GIF is snarky or not, but I've left it like that. Just like, I can't find your work. Grades, websites, deadlines, files and access, all these kind of things. So those buttons all link to like, hey, here's how this thing works. And I'm just going to keep adding to it because it's been really helpful. Now my party line can be, did you check the help desk? It's the same thing with that late form. Oh, you did your quiz? Sarah, Glenda, on her brother's computer with the wrong screen name, Batman, whatever. Did you fill out the form? Did you check the help desk? Like 80% of your issues are probably handled there. And then if you come back, cool, no problem. Then it wasn't, and I need to do something better. So that's like a slideshow. That GIF is just another way I use slides. Another way that you can use slides in the moment. These are all hopefully like simple, and you can find them accessible. If you just change the view on Google Slides, you can do view and then grid view, and you can see them all working at the same time. So if I put like, you know, Michaela, she's student 6, and maybe I'd have her name on there or something, like Stacy, student 8, Heidi, student 9, you know, whatever, Glenda, student 7. You can see all of them and like what they're adding or not at the same time. And so when you open up your slideshow, not main slide, but view, grid view, suddenly it's like you have an omniscient point of view to all of your students' papers. And so it's like you can look over, and then in the chat, on the Zoom, whatever, you can go, hey, Marcia, where'd you go? Like, Margaret, everything okay? And if you have to take like attendance based on their digital participation, which feels really slimy to me, but if that's a thing that that's a reality in your life right now, at least now you've kind of got receipts as to like what they were doing or what they were able to do or the work they got done. during the class period, and then maybe they just came back to it later. But regardless, in the moment, it's like you would be circulating around the room, but a little bit more efficient, to be honest, I think. And it just stays in one, like one window, in one tab. They can just open one slideshow, and then you just hope that they don't obviously copy and paste from each other, but that's not the hill I'm gonna die on either. So however you wanna do kind of collaborative work, it's nice for group work instead of having like, if you have 36 students, like I have humongous classes always, that's 18 pairs. I'd rather have 18 slides someplace and have 2 students like insert a thing at a time than have 18 breakout rooms and like go in and check and do all the things. That's a lot. Glenda, what'd you say? Do you have a late work policy? Glenda, our only, yes and no, our only late work policy really is like by the report card date. But I'll tell you what we do as a department, or at least as a course team, is by the end of, like, everything's due by the end of the unit. So like if unit 3 ends, I just have this because this is actually when unit 3 ends, this is my mind. Our unit 3 ends November 6th, which should be a Friday. And so by the end of unit 3, like we're closing the book on unit 3, and you also can't turn anything from unit 2 either. So we stay like within the current unit and then a unit behind. So like when unit 2 ends, you're done turning in stuff for unit 1 and you're done turning in stuff for unit 2. But you got a little more time on the 2. By the time unit 3 ends, unit 3 is over, and then unit 2 is like actually over, and so on. Because for us, for our report cards, we're on the quarter system, and we have, they get a report card. Their report card, they're like, their Spanish 1 or French 1 or Chinese 1 grades don't average together. They're gonna get a first quarter grade and a second quarter grade because we're on block. So we can take all late work, and we do, no problem, but until a certain point, because then we have to post grades and like flush the toilet and move on. We can't just keep going. So there's nothing I'm getting in December that was like from August, because that prevents it from us. So that's been really nice to still honor mastery over time and accept late work, but not like kill ourselves bending over backwards for students who are like, can I still? No, like, no, you cannot. At that point, it's kind of case by case. Like if it's the end of unit 3 and they still want to turn in like unit 1, yeah, we still take it all. Like by the end of the quarter, like Heidi said, by the end of the quarter, but it's just like I'm not going to go looking for it. So we take it all. It's no problem. No questions asked, but like, like you need to get it together. So as a mass kind of a thing, we say by the end of the unit. But then we're like getting with students individually, like, how do you you're still missing a quiz from unit 1. Report, let's chop. It just cuts down on kind of the numbers of the conversations, because then you can address students like individually. So yeah, we take it all. Because I do the HR videos late every year, and they still keep me on. Mishaela, don't tell John, it's late literally every year. So I am what I am. If you use a calendar feature, I use Google Calendar for all of the following, and there are more detailed videos and explanations in there. And I also, if you want that same kind of Google Calendar, I should have put that in a different order, so ignore that one. If you want the same thing of like a student view, whiteboard.fi is awesome, and ignore that code. It's open to 1, so you can kind of see what students see, but I'm gonna skip it and move on. Well, whiteboard.fi basically does the same thing. You get all of the students like whiteboards, and then when they click save, you can see everything that they're writing, typing, images they're inserting, whatever. And so it's as if they're holding up whiteboards like in the classroom, like, you know, to show you. And it's really, really handy. I've only had it not work like once, so have a backup plan. But it's really, really awesome. And you can see here, I mean, it's, you know, it's private. You can have a waiting room. It's really cool. A couple more things, and then, gosh, we're gonna be done together. If you want to send students, let's say that Pinterest extension allowed you to save a bunch of things to like a board for your entire unit or for a theme. One way to get kids just, again, negotiating meaning and getting input is Anne-Marie Chase out of Nevada. She's amazing. She has these interpretive rubrics that align with the actual proficiency levels. So read her blog post, and then she's linked to the ones she used in person pre-COVID, and she also made digital copies. So it's really, really cool just to get kids expressing what they did understand, not necessarily just answering comprehension questions that we thought up, and they kind of have to read our minds a little bit when we do that. I'm coming at it from what I think's interesting and my level of the language, not from a 14-year-old who's just starting out. So when we make comprehension questions, we have to be so careful. These rubrics are completely open-ended, and they just move from the word level to the sentence level to the thought level. And she has a whole post, and she's incredible. And she made these available for everything here, free and digital versions as well. So if you're pinning all those pictures, now you just made a choice board for students, and you can go, okay, go there, let me know, fill out the Google form as to what you understood. Now you can open up that spreadsheet and look at consistencies. You can look at what they're consistently understanding. If it's just mostly the cognates, okay, of course, I would hope so, but also which cognates, and how can I use these to, like any formative, like any activity, which is a formative, how are they informing instruction? Bethany Drew has also made everything she does is available for free as well. So this is like weekend chat and some scaffolding made available electronically. So if you want to instead sort of project what you would have done before for weekend chat, and she keeps adding languages. So I believe there's a French one and a German one now. What'd you do over the weekend? What are you doing this weekend? Or you want to have like a debate and you want to scaffold like, I agree, I disagree. On the other hand, all these things that we know level up student language, especially with authentic resources, these things allow them to focus on what they're saying, not how they're saying it. That's why they go to Google Translate. That's why they, are like rigging up a NASA space station just to have, make that flip grid like with the sticky. So they're reading, but they're here. And then it's like you hear another voice and you're like, did you invite your native speaker friend over? Well, who's talking? And they're like, And then they've got like a thing and everything. They do that because the task, because also like, just as humans, we're lazy sometimes, but like the task might not be as accessible as we think it is. And a lot of these scaffolding pieces are really great, just virtually, digitally, just to have. And so you can take those PDFs and just make them images that you can reuse in your classroom all the time. Lastly, a couple other reusable resources. So I've coded all these kind of this way so you can quickly see down the side of the slideshow kind of where you're going. A couple of things where you can use, you can curate and create content. So again, if you want to pull them into that slideshow, what are they responding to? You got to make a thing or find a thing. iFake text message is really awesome to make up like fake text message conversations. I know it's unbelievable that Nikki Jam is not in love with me, like this text would insinuate, but I'd like to think he is. So I make a lot of text messages. My students just roll their eyes. And I just have a lot of celebrities in love with me, but I'm like, guys, I'm married, stop. And they're like ridiculous. So students could like say what the text went on to say. Like, how did the conversation continue? What was the previous conversation? Now they can look at some nuance linguistically, and all you had to do was, just be a little bit silly or not, and, play around with that. Characters in a story, anything like that. Texting Story is an app to do the same thing, but it's a video. So you should be able to play these videos within the slideshow. And what it takes is like those text messages, but it watches them play out in real time. And so you can do little character nuances. You can respond differently. Like, oh, do you want to go to the movies with me? If you're looking at like invitations, and then somebody could type like, oh, yes. Oh, delete. No, I think I'm busy. There's a prompt. Like, why? Why did they change their mind? Because Texting Story will record everything. I'll play one for you. Will record everything that is like being typed. So you can see my autocorrects because I'm typing too fast. You just literally type in the conversation yourself. It's really cool. Then you have this video. I'll turn that off even though that typing sounded really satisfying to me. I love that. Click. There we go. So you can see how the conversation plays out. And now you can use this video it can be an ed puzzle. You just made the resource instead of searching for it or finding the perfect video, finding that workbook page. We can just make it and then use it 5 million times. It just tricks students into reading. They're like, no, I don't read. Yeah, right. You're on Snapchat all day. Like, that's reading. And so it tricks them into reading. And because it's kind of fast, you can also see how fast they're reading in the target language because you gotta keep up with it. Anyway, so a couple of tools. Same thing with Instagram and within like social media and making different captions and things. One great app is Cliptomatic. Cliptomatic will allow you to do like I did here. And I'm telling how I ate my husband's leftovers. I just thought they were like group leftovers, like just for the community of our little house. And I totally ate them. And then I was in the middle of confessing to my students that I totally ate his like Chinese food. And then he walks in, he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." And I was like recording for my students in that moment, confessing like, "Oh my God, I ate Senor Blanco's food." And this I was just recording. That's a really unflattering thumbnail. I was just recording this like in the hallway about just to give them some input for the new unit about eating. But Cliptomatic is that app. And so Cliptomatic will add captions to your videos. Now you can embed them in a slideshow and again, present content to students without having them go to a million places. You put the experience together. And then if I have this spread, what do these have in common? Like, what do we keep saying? Comer. So you've got, comer, comes. That one doesn't have, oh yeah, that one's in the comer story. Then you've got comer. Let's talk about comer. And you've created your own sort of authentic experience. And we're gonna go like 5 minutes over. So give me 2 more minutes. I've also got some stickers here that I made for at the beginning of the semester when I didn't know what else to praise. Because I was like, oh, like this is all a lot. So I had students that were like super sweet. And I'm like, "Thank you. Like, Glenda, you're always so nice." Thank you. Because some aren't always so nice. And then kids that were just doing everything. Like I was probably assigning too much and they were doing it all. Same, the kids like, "Okay, come on, Heidi, you can keep it going. Like, you're doing great." And like the kids that need a little extra, whatever, also just like, "Heidi, that was a really polite email. You freaking rock. I love you." So these are like more like kind of social emotional things, but you could easily take a rubric and just like screenshot it. There's your feedback and use that the same way you would have stapled it in person, or like these I would have done like as a sticker, like a physical sticker, but here we are. And so I just made them digital stickers that I can drag into GoFormative. You can drag them into Google Classroom. And now you can give the feedback that you would have given in person, where you watch their little faces and Heidi's like, "Thank you," like a little sticker, because that's how I am. Heidi, we're very much alike, so I just assume you're the same. I get like, I'm like, "Oh, and she taped like a pencil on there. That was like a piece of candy." Like, I'm easily motivated very much. So the way I would have added kind of a personal connection relationship touch, these are just some digital ways. This one I'm not serious with. I have not sent that one. I just think it's funny because that's so much blank work. But also I'm not opposed to sending it. So if you don't think it's super inappropriate, I'll start. But I usually stick with the muy bien. I gave you a couple templates here on being choosy about what kind of feedback you're giving. We know corrective feedback doesn't help most students, but we also have students who ask for it. That would have been me. And so I would have wanted corrective feedback. But what I'm saying is, don't give all the feedback all the time, or else we're all going to quit like tomorrow. And we can't quit because we need our jobs, or at least I need my job. So I'm instead going, "What do you want me to say? Like, do you want me to highlight like my favorite parts? I can do it. Do you want me to pull out like the parts that are impede communication? Do you just want the rubric? Like, what do you want?" And you have a template to the second document there. But just being a little bit choosy instead of looking and going, "Oh my God, I got to grade all these." Yes, but you don't have to grade all of the parts of all of these. So this was an in-person example that we've transitioned then to digital learning. So just still being choosy about feedback. And if it's in your LMS, maybe you can click through a rubric and go from there. Or you can, again, do those stickers and go, "Hey, like, awesome job, great pronunciation. Your agreement still needs, like, let's work on agreement." And it's like a goal sticker, like, "Our next goal is that your agreement lines up," because that might have actually impeded communication. I didn't know what you were talking about because the gender of your adjectives changed. And I didn't know if it was a person or a thing because you had 2 subjects, whatever. The things we know happen. Because I'm not going to grade every aspect of every assignment for every student every time. My head will fall off. And then the last 2 are things that helped with students in person. I had what I was not expecting about this whole experience was to have students in person who didn't do anything. I was waiting for the in-person students to just be like, "Teach me." No, They were not. It was like, instead of sleeping at home, they were just sleeping at school. So what has helped me kind of, but I think they were just not sure what to do. And to be honest, I'd have 4 in front of me and 30 on Zoom. I'm going to focus on the 30. And that's just what we're going to do. So I felt like these 2 like paper resources that I handed to students like in person, or left on their desk and then like walk away, have really anchored their motivation and their thoughts. Yay, bye Heidi, you're the best. These have really anchored their thoughts. So it's like not a to-do list, like this one's like a to-do list, and this one's like to done, like I did it. So this is kind of also documentation of if they were productive or not. And then this is what I think they should prioritize. And so that has helped them, like just having that every day to fill out also says, Ardam, you didn't do anything. Like if they're like, oh, I know, well, it's typical for you. Am I right? Yeah. You're like me, real underachiever. I don't want to do anything. Like if I go, Ardam, you didn't, like, what's going on here? She's now got to have the meta awareness, like, oh yeah, I did just sit for a 90-minute block and look at Snapchat. Like, so also one of the conversations that we're having, like, hey, Meg, gonna get to working. Okay, thank you. I can't do it in person like I normally would have because I have to stay like away from them. But this has helped, just having these to fill out and give back to me, and the templates are in the speaker notes, have helped kids be like, oh, okay. And my ones that struggle with like what to do, it helps them figure out like what they still need to do. So if they're struggling with motivation, aren't we all? It helps them, to me, create some motivation. I think kids just wait to find it. Like, I'm going to feel like I want to do it. But we know as adults, that's not true. Like, your habits are what keep you motivated. You're not just going to wake up, go, I feel like working out all the time. No, but we do it because we know the benefits outweigh, not. And so hopefully, I know, like I said, it's fast and dirty, and we went 9 minutes over. I hope that's okay. But you could have ditched me long ago. Don't worry, no feelings hurt. Please take everything. I super appreciate you. Whatever you're doing is enough. If you hate all of this, I'm sorry. If you love all of it, but feel overwhelmed and want to try it all, but don't, or do, but like, if you hate it, stop. Whatever you're doing is enough. And I say that to say, like, we're nerding out on a Saturday, working together, and that's a lot to ask of people. So I think at some point, whatever helps you kind of keep that mental peace and keep your, just keep your calm in the midst of chaos, do that. Because grind culture, hustle culture, teacher martyr culture, and we're all toxic positivity. We're all in it for the kids, anything for the kids. They're not going to keep me at my job. What's going to keep me at my job is support, knowing that the people I work for support me. They get out of the way. I have colleagues who will help me divide the work. And I have some tools that allow me to feel like I'm still getting work done in an experience like no other, and that feels like I'm like the work never ends. We know it never ends, but hopefully these help you feel a little bit more not like kind of teaching as an abusive relationship, which it is. We've got to love teaching even when it doesn't love us back. And so hopefully you can have some balance in there. Yeah, I'll post the recording for sure. And where did you go? There was one, Meg. Oh, Meg, it's pointer. So if you kind of like hover, whoa, I did not know it made the mouse big. I've never moused that fast. Oh, that's exciting. In like Google Slides, if you do pointer at the bottom there, whoops, where'd it go? I think you can see that. Yeah, cool. And it's really nice. What's really nice is Zoom. I don't know if you use Zoom, like the Zoom annotate. If you can like pointer, you can't point and annotate at the same time. Oh, if only. But the Zoom annotate like on the Google screen, and then I'll go pointer and be like, see? And it's kind of like just like a sexy little underline. It's exciting. Because I like to keep kids in one screen. So I use annotate a lot. Not them, because they'll draw body parts. But I like the pointer and I like the annotate for me. Yay. Okay, let's see. Adiam said, you just give us more work. Adiam, listen, you don't have to do it all. Knock it off. Angelica, yeah, no worries. I'll post the recording. I'll put it, actually, I'll ask Mark if that's okay. I'll put it in the speaker notes of the slideshow. So if you just keep the slideshow, you're good. Somebody remind me to do that. Margaret, text me. Let me see. Meg, beautiful. Yay. Yay. Okay. Awesome. Time for our 11:30 sesh. Let's go get a little refill, potty break. Yay. Bye, Glenda. I know. See you on Twitter. You guys are awesome. Good times. Yeah. Check all the things. Check all the resources. Adios. I don't know how to say goodbye in many other, like, no, that's all I got. Adios. I'll check the chat here for a sec, but y'all can, yay, au revoir. Thank you. Au revoir. Oh, okay. Toodles.